Duchenne is one of 9 strains of muscular dystrophy and it only affects young men. Last August, Sophie's younger brother and best friend Mitch passed away from the disease at the age of 19. This year's Bristol 10K, alongside bucket collections at Mitchell's favourite sports games, are an opportunity for Sophie to raise money and awareness for the genetically inherited disorder. She hopes that this money will be used by charities to fund research that will ultimately help families like hers. Duchenne Muscular Dystrophy affects about 1 in 3,600 boys. Women are the carriers of DMD. Females receive 2 X chromosomes, so they only need 1 working copy of the gene. Males have 1 X and 1 Y, so if a boy inherits DMD, he will not have a normal X and will express the disease. Symptoms may appear as early as infancy. The first notable symptom is a delay of motor milestones such as sitting and standing independently. The average age of walking for a DMD child is 18 months. Calf muscles initially enlarge. By age 10, crutches may be required for walking. Muscle contractures occur in the legs, making the muscles unusable because the muscle fibers shorten. Muscle weakness also occurs in the arms and neck, but not as early as the lower half of the body. Most boys are confined to a wheelchair by age 12. Bones develop abnormally, causing skeletal deformations of the spine and other areas. Few individuals with DMD live beyond their 30s.
Mitch has a brother, the usual 18, 19-year-old, sort of in the last few years, annoying as hell, but normal sort of teenage brother. So when I started working full-time, I didn't really get to spend that much time with him as I used to, because we used to spend obviously summer holidays, half-terms and stuff with my mum. We always used to whinge about having my dad home because it would never used to be as fun as it was when it was just us 3. We always used to have brother and sister banter, who's the best sibling, who's mum and dad's favourites. Always used to joke that he was the golden boy, he used to get everything he wanted. But yeah, and then the last sort of 3 years, obviously Tom come along, which was really nice for them two to sort of get along and spend time with just us 3 together. Everyone used to say to us how close we used to be as a brother and sister, which was obviously really nice. And they used to say sort of how jealous they were that we used to have such a good relationship. And he was just, a normal younger brother. You just wanted to protect him and look after him. Sorry. I'm gonna try and eat. Everything I've sort of always ever done is for Mitch. And this is what I want to get the word out there so people don't have to go through the same sort of heartbreak. And I just want to get as much money behind the charities as possible, just so there's enough research that, Mitch, we love Mitch and would have had him any other way, but if we had the decision and had something to help us that meant that this sort of thing wouldn't happen, not just to us but to other families and people with younger kids, it breaks my heart that us going through it is our personal lives, but for other people to have to go through exactly the same. And I know there's people, obviously there's lots of people out there that have to go through the same as what we've gone through, and I just don't want it to happen to anyone else.
Sophie and Mitch grew up in a town called Yates near Bristol. Their parents, Simon and Karina, received some help from the council with home modifications. However, they feel like the government could do more to help families like theirs.
They never picked it up in hospital, so he spent 3 months in hospital. Then he was in traction, he had to learn to walk again. Then we went on holiday, Portugal. Yeah. And I threw him in the pool, didn't I? And,
just messing around like you do.
Yeah, messing around, and he never came back up. And he said he couldn't push his legs up. And he started swinging his leg out, going up the stairs. And then that's when I took him back to the doctors thinking that he wanted more physio. And that was when it came crashing down and we had the news that, he did have Duchenne Muscular Dystrophy.
So I went and had a blood test at the genetics centre, and they said to me there'd be a 50-50 chance of me carrying the gene. So I just wanted to know, just for future reference, and turns out that I am a carrier, but there's lots of
because of
different things
scientific advancement, and that you're able to have genetic modification in the womb and things they can do before you have a child if you get pregnant with a boy. But I mean, Mitchell, we didn't have a clue, did we, until that time? And how was it, about 8 or 9, wasn't it, when he was
quite late on?
Quite late
on. Other kids.
I think if we'd have known when he was a baby, we would have wrapped him up in cotton wool and he'd have probably come off his feet
a lot sooner.
3 years earlier.
So how do you feel about sort of the government's attitude to funding? Do you think they're doing enough, or...?
No, I don't think they are doing enough.
No, because it's such a rare thing. I mean, the government at the moment seems to be hell-bent on cancer.
Yeah.
And cancer's taking up a lot of money. Yeah, it's a good cause. Yeah, I agree with it. But then there are other diseases out there that need to be looked at and need to be funded.
I mean, at the end of the day, somebody with a disability is costing them money, because as we all know, everything comes down to money. Unfortunately, it shouldn't. How can you put a price on somebody's life?
Sophie's travelled to Winsford, Cheshire, home of this centre that provides muscular dystrophy sufferers with specialist care and the opportunities to study vocational courses. Due to a lack of funding, there is only one centre in the UK, meaning families like Sophie's have to travel far for their unique physiotherapy and educational opportunities. Mitch qualified in graphic design from the centre.
Hi Matthew, nice to meet you.
Hi Sophie.
Thank you so much for letting us come down today.
Matthew Lanham is the Chief Executive of the Neuromuscular Centre.
Could you tell us a bit more about sort of what, if there's any research done here at the centre, what that research might be?
I suppose the most important work that's going on here is about the impact of exercise on people with muscular dystrophy. And that's with Manchester Metropolitan University, and they're working particularly with our new gym to measure the impact of specific exercises on individuals, do a number of sessions, what's the difference between how they are now, the strength, and how it was at the beginning. There's a physiotherapy service that is probably what brings most people through our front door. So we see about 350 people every week who come in for this specialist physiotherapy that you can only get here at the NMC.
22-year-old Matthew Chamberlain is the first of his family to have Duchenne and has used a wheelchair since he was 10 years old.
So how do you feel about the sort of amount of money that gets put into the research of Duchenne muscular dystrophy?
Certainly feel that there is a lot of great work being done, sort of particularly through charitable organisations. Obviously it's a condition which isn't really spoken about quite as much, and there certainly isn't as much funding as some other conditions, particularly through pharmaceutical companies. I sort of feel
They could do
an
more.
awful lot more.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree with you there.
Outside, Sophie spoke to mum and carer Alison, whose son Dom has Duchenne and is a student at the centre.
Do you think that enough research is being done and there's enough people out there who know what muscular dystrophy is as a whole, especially sort of Duchenne?
Yeah, it would be nice that the adult care becomes more like it was when they were younger, because tend to have appointments, and you can go to that hospital and have the appointments and be there all day.
Yeah.
Whereas now you're older, you go into different hospitals for different appointments.
Yeah.
And although they are trying to get the care sorted for the adults, like you know, it's not there as it was when they were younger. A programme was on television, and just happened to mention this man having muscular dystrophy, and the information they gave out on the telly normally didn't know of at the time, which then he found out what his end of life was. You know. So it was quite upsetting, and it's the first time I had to sort of sit down and talk to him about it. He still didn't know the age pattern, you know, but he knew then that he wasn't. His life was a little bit short. But thankfully they are longer now. You know, so could be a lot more information out there, really.
For someone who's been living with MD for the last 15, probably a bit more years, I couldn't imagine a better place for what, you know, people would need it for. I couldn't think of anywhere better, and it's quite sad that there's only one place in the UK and that not everyone sort of knows about it. Alison, she was the carer for Dom. She was really nice, and it was nice to speak to someone who is currently going through the sort of things that my family went through with Mitch. And it just goes to show that everyone with MD are sort of all in the same boat together, and that if everyone comes together, we can all help each other and support each other through like the bad days and the good days.
And I said to Mitch, you know, what he actually had, you know, and what was going to happen. He was going to go in a wheelchair. And I said to him, you've got two choices, Mitch. I said, you can either sit on the bench or you can play the full 90 minutes. And played the full 90 minutes plus extra time, I think he done.